Zen Cohen, let us head to the campfire. Hi everybody, I'm back. Let's do a Zen Koan. We are almost done with the Zen Koans. We may have to start over again with 0. Now, as most of you know, Zen Koans are brief stories used to teach an important lesson in the study of Japanese Buddhism. So, last rap, The Taste of Benzo's Sword, Storyteller's Zen, Midnight Excursion, and Letter to a Dying Man, Teaching the Ultimate and Non-Attachment. Number 98. This is Zen Koan 98, Non-Attachment. Kitano Gempo, abbot of the Ihai Temple, was 92 years old when he passed away in the year 1933. He endeavored his whole life not to be attached to anything. As a wandering mendicant when he was 20, he happened to meet a traveler who smoked tobacco. They walked together down a mountain road. They stopped under a tree to rest. The traveler offered Kitano a smoke, which he accepted as he was very hungry at the time. "How pleasant the smoking is," he commented. The other gave him an extra pipe and tobacco, and they parted. Kitano felt such pleasant things may disturb meditation. Before this goes too far, I will stop now. He threw the smoking outfit away. When he was 23 years old, studying I Ching, the profoundest doctrine of the universe, it was winter at the time, and he needed some heavy clothes. He wrote his teacher, who lived 100 miles away, telling him of his need, and gave the letter to a traveler to deliver. Almost the whole winter passed, and neither answer nor clothes arrived. So Kitano resorted to the prescience of I Ching, which also teaches the art of divination, to determine whether or not his letter had miscarried. He found that this had been the case. A letter afterwards from his teacher made no mention of clothes. If I perform such accurate determinative work with I Ching, I may neglect my meditation, felt Kitano. So he gave up this marvelous teaching and never resorted to its powers again. When he was 28, he studied Chinese calligraphy and poetry. He grew so skillful in these arts that his teacher praised him. Kitano mused, "If I don't stop now, I'll be a poet, not a Zen teacher," and so he never wrote another poem. Non-attachment. Hope everybody's doing all right. Let's see what we got. Wisdom. Oh, this is one of my favorites. Let's go to the wisdom. Let us read from the bottom up. The purpose of a short story is that the reader shall come away with the satisfactory feeling that a particular insight into human character has been gained, or that his or her knowledge of the life has been deepened, or that pity, love, or sympathy for humankind is awakened. That's wisdom from Lin Yu Tang. Another one? All right, yeah, let's do another one. The more you think about your own self, the more self-centered you are, the more trouble even small problems can create in your mind. The stronger your sense of I, the narrower your scope of your thinking becomes. Then even small obstacles become unbearable. On the other hand, if you concern yourself mainly with others, the broader your thinking becomes, and life's inevitable difficulties disturb you less. That's wisdom from the That's wisdom from the Dalai Lama. We'll come back to do some more of these. Let's spin the wheel. Remember, if you're watching, you just write in the comments, and I'll see it on my screen. And I'll come back and chat with you. Ooh, a song. Those are fun. Let's go do a song. Let's do it at the theater. Put my headphones on for this. We'll do a song. Let's see. How about... What are you feeling today, Johnny? happy, enthusiastic. Let's do... They call you Lady Luck, but there is room for doubt. At times you've had a very unladylike way of running out. You're on this date with me. The pickings have been lush. And yet before this evening is over, you might give me the brush. You might forget your manners, you might refuse to stay, and so the best that I can do is pray. Luck, be a lady tonight. Luck, be a lady tonight. Luck, if you've ever been a lady to begin with, luck, be a lady tonight. Luck, let a gentleman see how nice a dame you can be. I know the way you've treated other guys you've been with. Luck, be a lady with me. A lady doesn't leave her escort. It isn't fair. It isn't nice. A lady doesn't wander all over the room and blow on some other guy's dice. Let's keep this party polite. Never get out of my sight. Stick with me, baby, I'm the fella you came in with. Luck, be a lady. Luck, be a lady. Luck, be a lady tonight. Woo! Fun. So, I didn't write that song. That's one of Sinatra's. You probably knew that. Still nobody in the chat, so let's spin the wheel again. Two viewers. Welcome to you both. Or there might be 2,000 not yet watching. Who knows? Only I do. All right, here we go. We're going to spin the wheel. I feel lucky. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Vera Lynn, yay! Bob Hope-esque. Or is there another version of We'll Meet Again you sing as? That's fantastic. Thank you so much for asking, Tony. Tony, the version of We'll Meet Again that I sing is a variation of the Johnny Cash version that he put out on his last album. I don't remember the name of it, but I certainly thought it was cheerful and bouncy, and I think it's a happy goodbye song. Glad to see you, Tony. Tell me about Vera Lynn. I'm just waiting for that song to become more, what's the word I'm looking for? Public domain, that I can dive in. I'm also very fond of a song, I'm Just an Old Chunk of Coal, by Billy Joe Shaver. Just an old chunk of coal. Whoop, hold on. Why am I chatting? Here, hold on. Thanks for coming, buddy. Come here. I'll tell you about it. Okay, so here's the deal. Bob Hope version from his last album. Kind of cheerful. Felt like a good thing at the end of a comedy song. I didn't think... Do you associate that song with anybody? Does anybody own that song? That's not Bob. Bob Hope's song was Thanks for the Memories, right? But I'm going for that kind of feeling, but not the actual song. I like that song, We'll Meet Again. I hope that answers your question. Let's spin the wheel. Thanks for writing. Happy to see you in there. Pour a little coffee and keep the magic coming. Ooh, it's poem time. All right. Let us dive in. Now only you. Let us dive in to the Poetry Corner. Almost. Here we go. All right. So that sounds right. Let's see how it looks. Pretty good. Sing along with you as you close out the show. Heck, that makes me so happy. That's sincerely what I hope people will do. Thank you, Tony. That makes it all worth it. Thank you, sir. Okay. Let us do a poem. This is, let's see. I just did this one earlier, but there was nobody watching, so I'm going to do it again and record it this time. This this is Ode to a Nightingale by John Keats. My heart aches, and a drowsy numbness pains my sense, as though of hemlock I had drunk, or emptied some dull opiate into the drains 1 minute past, and lethwards had sunk. 'Tis not through envy of thy happy lot, but being too happy in thine happiness, that thou, light-winged dryad of the trees, is some melodious plot of beechen green, and shadows numberless, singing of summer in the full-throated ease. Oh, for a draught of vintage that hath been cooled a long age in the deep-delved earth, tasting of flora and the country green, dance and provincial song, and sunburnt mirth. Oh, for a beaker full of the warm south, full of the true, the blushful hippocrene, with beaded bubbles winking at the brim, and purple-stained mouth, that I might drink and leave the world unseen, and with thee fade away into the forest dim. Far, far away dissolve, and quite forget what thou amongst the leaves hast never known, the weariness, the fever, and the fret here, where men sit and hear each other groan, where palsy shakes a few sad last gray hairs, where youth grows pale and spectre thin, and dies. Where but to think is to be full of sorrow and leaden-eyed despairs, where beauty cannot keep her lustrous eyes, or new love pine at them beyond tomorrow. Away, away, for I will fly to thee, not charioted by Bacchus and his pards, but on the viewless wings of poesy. Through the dull brain perplexes and retards, already with thee. Tender is the night, and haply the queen moon is on her throne, clustered all around by her starry face, but here there is no light, save what from heaven is with the breezes blown through verdurous glooms and winding mossy ways. I cannot see what flowers are at my feet, nor what soft incense hangs upon the boughs, but in embalmed darkness guess each sweet, wherewith the seasonable month endows the grass, the thicket, and the fruit tree wild, white hawthorn, and the pastoral eglantine, fast fading violets covered up in leaves, and mid-May's eldest child, the coming musk rose, full of dewy wine, the murmurous haunt of flies on summer's eves. Darkling, I listen, and for many a time I have been half in love with easeful death, called him soft names in many a mused rhyme, to take into the air my quiet breath. Now, more than ever, seems it rich to die, to cease upon the midnight with no pain, while thou art pouring forth thy soul abroad in such an ecstasy. Still, wouldst thou sing, and I have ears in vain, to thy high requiem become a sod. Thou wast not born for death, immortal bird. No hungry generations tread thee down. The voice I hear this passing night was heard in ancient days by emperor and clown. Perhaps the self-same song that found a path through the sad heart of Ruth when, sick for home, she stood in tears amid the alien corn. The same that oft times hath charmed magic easements, opening on the foam of perilous seas in fairy lands forlorn. Forlorn. The very word is like a bell to toil me back from thee to my sole self. Adieu. The fancy cannot cheat so well as she is famed to do, deceiving elf. Adieu, adieu. Thy plaintive anthem fades past the near meadows, over the still stream, up the hillside, and now 'tis buried deep in the next valley glades. Was it a vision or a waking dream? Fled is that music. Do I wake or sleep? Hey, I think we got one. Dad's here! Hooray, hooray! All right, let's go to the chat. Hi there, Dad. Welcome. Glad you're here. Tony Knuckles is playing along. We're having some fun. He was just telling me interesting things about the song at the end by Vera Miles. The We'll Meet Again. Still going to be quite a while before that's in the public domain, but, you know, I've always been a rebel. How you doing, Dad? You okay? It's been a pretty uneventful week for me. Mostly just taking care of the kids and hanging out with a couple of friends. All right. Well, thanks for checking in. Type anything you want into the chat. I'll be right back to tell you all about it. Let's spin the wheel. Wisdom. Excellent. Let's see if I can't learn something. The most beautiful people we have known are those who have known defeat, known suffering, known struggle, known loss, and have found their way out of the depths. These people have an appreciation, a sensitivity, and an understanding of life that fills them with compassion, gentleness, and a deep, loving concern. Beautiful people do not just happen. That's wisdom from Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. I like that a lot. Resist much, obey less. That's wisdom from Lawrence Ferlinghetti. One more. Animals are my friends, and I do not eat my friends. That's wisdom from George Bernard Shaw. Dad had an uneventful week too. Glad to hear it. All right, let's spin the wheel. I'm hoping a monologue comes up soon. I got a whole bunch of new monologues. Spend a couple hours. Ooh, feelings. All right, then to the chat chalet. Let's see how I'm feeling. Okay. Let's see. Hi, everybody. Come a little bit closer. All right, here's the deal. I am feeling good, feeling healthy, feeling fat, still plenty fat. Still gaining weight when I don't want to. Other than that, things are good. I'm excited. My days are filled with things I enjoy doing. Feeling very grateful for the chance to do this little thing on Sundays and have my writers group. That's very, very lucky thing for me, and I enjoy that a lot. I love Debbie. I wish didn't get to spend much time with her this week because she was working all the time, and every time she came home, she needed to go right to bed because she'd been working so long the night before. So we haven't got to hang out too much. But when we did hang out, it was really, really nice. Yeah, it has some, a little bit of depression coming down. Anytime I have a big show, the week afterwards, it's a little bit of a depression down thing. You know how it goes. But I cope with it. I listen to my George Carlin. I listen to some of the older, I guess it's the more recent, his later work. There you go. His last two specials are extremely dark, and they really cheer me up when I'm in a bad place. So I listened to that, and I felt better. Why is my coffee cup so small? Excellent question, and I thank you, Tony. Hold on for a second. Kim is here. Oh, my God, Kim and Dad at the same time. Welcome to the club. Very nice. Tony want to know why my coffee cup is so small. It's a normal size coffee cup. I'm a huge man. I'm like a giant. That's why I don't let anybody see below this part of my body. It's all terrifying. It's not true, obviously. Now, the coffee cup is small because it is part of a set that is a thermos there. So I put the thermos in here, and then I drink the coffee out of here, and I don't have to get out of the chair while I'm broadcasting. And that answers that question. Thank you for taking an interest. And here's to you. How you doing, Kimmy? Where are you playing this week? Who you playing with? What's been going on? I always want to know what's happening with Kim. Type some stuff, Kim. I'll be right back in just a minute after I spin the wheel. If you have requests, I do them for Kim. Perspective. Perspective. I'm closer to the camera. I get it. Perspective. Already did feelings. Barely. Didn't really have anything interesting to talk about. It's nice to examine it. Nice to be in a happy, healthy place. See what we got. Ooh. Poem. Excellent. Never get tired of reading poems. Ready to read poems. Here we go. Let us do The Deserted Garden. This is The Deserted Garden by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. I mind me, in the days departed, how often, underneath the sun, with childish bounds I used to run to a garden, long deserted. The beds and walks were vanished quite, and Wheresoever had struck the spade, the greenest grasses nature laid, to sanctify her right. I called the place my wilderness, for no one entered there but I. The sheep looked in the grass to espy, and passed it ne'ertheless. The trees were interwoven wild, and spread their boughs enough about to keep both sheep and shepherd out, but not a happy child. Adventurous joy it was for me. I crept beneath the boughs, and found a circle of smooth, mossy ground beneath the poplar tree. Old garden rose trees hedged it in, bed-roped with roses waxen white, well satisfied with dew and light, and careless to be seen. Long years ago it might befall, when all the children flowers were trim, the grave old gardener prided him on these the most of all. Some lady, stately overmuch, here moving with a silken noise, has blushed beside them at the voice that likened her to such. And these, to make a diadem, she often may have plucked and twined, half smiling as it came to mind that few would look at them. Oh, little thought that lady proud, a child would watch her fair white rose, when buried lay her whiter brows, and silk was changed for shroud. Nor thought that gardener, full of scorns for men unlearned in simple phrase, a child would bring it all its praise by creeping through the thorns. To me upon my low moss seat, though never a dream the rose's scent of science, of love's compliment, I ween they smelt as sweet. It did not move my grief to see the trace of human step departed, because the garden was deserted, the blither place for me. Friends, blame me not, a narrow ken has childhood twixt the sun and the sword. We draw the moral afterward, we feel the gladness then. And gladdest hours for me did glide in silence the rose-tree wall. A thrush made gladness musical upon either side. Nor he nor I did e'er incline to peck or pluck the blossoms white. How should I know but roses might lead lives as glad as mine? To make my hermit home complete, I brought dear water from the spring, and praised it its own low murmuring, and cresses glossy wet. And so I thought my likeness grew, without the melancholy tale, to gentle hermit of the dale, and Angelina too. For oft I read within my nook such minstrel stories, till the breeze made sounds poetic in the trees, and then I shut the book. If I shut this wherein I write, I hear no more the wind athwart those trees, nor feel that childish heart delighting in delight. My childhood from my life is parted, my footsteps from the moss which drew its fairy circle round, anew the garden is deserted. Another thrush may there rehearse the madrigals which sweetest are. No more for me, myself afar, do sing a sadder verse. Ah, me, when erst I lie in that child's nest so greenly wrought, I laughed unto myself and thought, the time will pass away. And still I laughed and did not fear, but that whene'er was passed away the childish time, some happier play, my womanhood would cheer. I knew the time would pass away, and yet, beside the rose-tree wall, dear God, how seldom, if at all, did I look up to pray. Past. And now that grows the cypress high among the trees, and I behold white sepulchres, as well as the white rose. When graver, meeker thoughts are given, and I have learnt to lift my face, reminded how earth's greenest place the color draws from heaven. It something saith for earthly pain, but more for heavenly promise free, that I, who was, would shrink to be that happy child again. Reminds me of the woods you used to walk through to get to your bus, Dad. I think Kim and I used to play in those woods too, the woods at the back at North Point. All right, anyway, that was fun. Let's spin the wheel. Oh my goodness gracious, Tony Esposito's here. This is exciting stuff, folks. All right, so let's see a couple things here. Perspective. Tony said the wheel of meat. No, it's a wheel of fun. I spin the wheel and I decide what to do next, Tony. Welcome to the program. Thanks for watching. Kim is on the Conquest out of Nassau today. Always fun. It's one of my 3 or 4 favorite ports in the Bahamas. And Tony says he feels so educated every Sunday. Me too. I never get to do this stuff. Thanks for giving me an excuse to read poetry. I love doing it, but on the street. I look insane. With Billy Bonnet. Oh, I don't know Billy Bonnet. Billy Bonnell. Billy Bonnell. That's a great name. I don't know Billy Bonnell. Okay. Uh-oh. That's probably fine. All right, Tony's here. Listen, Tony, here's the deal, buddy. You type. We got two Tonys. This is exciting. Got Tony Knuckles and Tony Esposito. I believe you know them both, Kim. Tony Esposito, been hanging out a lot lately. Really enjoyed it. We're doing a show on Thursday at the Comedy Zone here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Pretty exciting. Here's the deal, Tony. I chat with the people, and when there's nothing in the chat, I spin the wheel. There's no wheel of meat. It's just a wheel of things I like doing. Let's give it a try. I'll show you how it works right now. I already talked about my feelings. Perfect. A monologue. Let's go down and do a song. All right, let's do a song in the theater. Monologue hasn't come up today. That's weird. Hey, everybody. All right, gonna sing a little song. Now, Tony loves to sing, as do I, so I use this as an excuse. I sing a cappella so I don't get copyright strikes. And if you don't like it, I understand. So let's do One for My Baby. It's 2:45. There's no one in the place except you and me. So set 'em up, Joe. I've got a little story you ought to know. We're drinking, my friend, to the end of a brief episode. Make it one for my baby and one more for the road. I got the routine, put another nickel in the machine. I'm feeling so bad, can't you make the music easy and sad? I could tell you a lot, but a man has gotta be true to his code. Make it one for my baby and one more for the road. You'd never know it, but buddy, I'm a kind of poet, and I've got a lot of things I'd like to say, so if I'm gloomy, won't you listen to me until it's talked away? Well, that's how it goes, and Joe, I know you're getting anxious to close. Thanks for the cheer, I hope you didn't mind my bending your ear. But this torch that I found has gotta be drowned, or it soon might explode. Make it one for my baby and one more for the road. It's a long, long road. It's a long, long road. There we go. Fun. Monologue. All right. Dig the game. Give us a monologue. Rig the game. I like it. All right, then. Monologue. I don't know what Dad's asking about. Monologue. All right. Then let's do it. Here we go. The monologue's in the theater anyway, so I'm going to leave and I'll come back. Hold on. As you can see over there, rig the game, give us a monologue. Dad says monologue. All right, I got a bunch of new ones. I got a bunch of Carlins. I got a bunch of Norm Macdonald. I'm going to work on an impression of him. And I have one specifically, my favorite bit of nothing, from a guy named Paul F. Tompkins. Let's go do that right now. To the Comedy Club. This is one of my favorite pieces of comedy writing about something that doesn't matter at all, and raising the stakes so it sounds like it might, even though it doesn't. Here we go. Found it. This is Cake v. Pie by Paul F. Tompkins. Ladies and gentlemen, there has been a debate raging in our society for many years. People are on one side or they're on the other. Doesn't seem to be any middle ground whatsoever. We have never been able to solve this problem until tonight because I have figured out the solution. Here's the divide. Some people like cake more than pie. Some people like pie more than cake. We've never been able to decide which one is best until this historic night. Yeah, you're going to be part of history because I figured it out. Now I need your help very briefly. First, I need you to stop yelling out cake or pie. This is still a comedy show, and it is still a monologue. By a round of applause, how many people like cake more than pie? Okay, yeah, it's a fair number of people. Bless you all for voting, and I wish I had little stickers for everybody, but I am woefully unprepared for this turnout. Still using the applauses vote system. How many people like pie more than cake? You pie people. You make me laugh. Cake will always be superior to pie, yes. I'm sorry, for one very simple reason. Frosting! Y'all forgot about frosting. Frosting trumps all. Have you taken leave of your senses? What, were you going to put whipped cream up against frosting? Don't make me laugh. Whipped cream. Let me put this to bed once and for all. Whipped cream. Here's how good frosting is. When you are eating it out of the can, you feel shame. Must mean it's pretty good, huh? Must mean it's too good. You're not supposed to eat it like that. What's pie filling got going for it? Nothing. Even the name, filling, makes it seem like it's not that important to the pie. There's no contest. There is no contest. I want you to think back to those food drives when you were a kid. Picture that cardboard box in the corner of the classroom. Did you ever see a can of frosting in there? Let me save you the trouble. No, you did not. I bet you saw more than one can of pie filling in there, though. That ought to tell you a little bit about what we think of pie. Get this out of the house. Give it to the poor. Maybe they have time to make a lattice crust all day. I have a job. I'm going to call in sick from work to make some Dutch apple pie. If you are eating pie filling out of the can, there has been a disaster. Things are not good. Things are not good. You are in an underground bunker, and you are running out of food. Oh, so hungry. What do we have left? Pie filling? Oh, I thought we planned this better. All right, here's what's going to happen. First, I'm going to eat that pie filling. Then, I'm going to eat you. The only way pie filling will ever be victorious over cake is if science figures out how to frost a pie. Why has this not been done? You're telling me in the history of dudes getting high, no dude ever turned to his friend and said, I have news for you. Drugs have finally paid off. We're going to put frosting on that pie. This is the experience I've been waiting to have. Look, I've been smoking weed for 40 years. Been hoping for some kind of insight. All I can say is better late than never. Oh, wait a second. That's not frosting. That's paint. No, we're going to do it. There you go. Paul F. Tompkins, ladies and gentlemen. Pie always. Oh, you're wrong. You don't feel shame? Pie, applause, pie. Everybody seems to vote pie, but cake is the real winner. And feel shame. Isn't it? You don't feel shame? I envy you. Ice cream is great, but it's not involved. All right. Paul F. Tompkins, everybody. Let's spin the wheel. Let's go to Chat Chalet. Thank you very much for getting involved there, folks. Appreciate you putting up your votes and what have you about pie versus cake. I enjoyed that bit very much. Let's spin the wheel some more. Y'all forgot about frosting. Already talked about my feelings. What are you guys feeling? You all right? How you doing, Kim? I haven't seen you in forever. Shakespeare! Let us head to the Shakespeare stage. As you know, we've been making our way through the sonnets. We are currently at sonnet 134. How about that, folks? I've read 134 sonnets here on the program. So here we go. This is sonnet 134 by William Shakespeare. So, now have I confessed that he is thine, and I myself am mortgaged to thy will. Myself I'll forfeit, so that other mine thou wilt restore, to be my comfort still. But thou wilt not, nor he will not be free, for thou art covetous, and he is kind. He learned, but surety-like, to write for me, under that bond that him as fast doth bind. The statute of thy beauty thou wilt take, thou usurer, that putst forth all to use, and sue a friend came debtor for my sake. So him I lose through my unkind abuse. Him have I lost, thou hast both him and me, he pays the whole, and yet am I not free? Couple of stumbles, but that's why we practice, isn't it, folks? All right. Ice cream on pie. Good morning. Yay! It's one of my favorites. Nice. We were just talking about cake versus pie. Eugene, man, I'm going to say your name wrong. I'm going to call you Lady E. How about that? Welcome, Lady E. I'm glad you're here. Let's say hi. Good morning. To people in the chat right now, there's Tony Knuckles. He's a comedian from up north. Kim Harrison, she's a comedian on cruise ships, and my beloved sister. And James Millwater, that's my dad. He's here talking with us, too. Eugenie is a big comedy fan. Dang it, Lady E, I said it wrong. Lady E is a very big comedy fan here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and she's also the mother to one big comedy fan and one actual comedian, Chief Keith. So, hello to everybody. Ooh, work, 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 work. Dad says F. And I don't know what that means. Probably, hello. You know how it goes. All right, let's spin the wheel. Wonder what Dad meant by F. Ooh, a song. Yay, let's do this one by the campfire. Do something a little bit less fancy. Maybe an old, let's see. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. Let's do Sadder But Wiser Girl. I like this one. No sweet and pure angelic lass for me. That kind of gal spins a web, you see. She trades on wholesome innocence galore, but it's my independence that she's trading for. The only affirmative she will file refers to marching down the aisle. No golden, glorious, screaming, pristine goddess. No, sir, for no Diana do I play fawn. I can tell you that right now. I snarl, I hiss. How can ignorance be compared to bliss? I spark, I fizz for the lady who knows what time it is. I cheer, I rave for the virtue I'm too late to save. The sadder but wiser girl for me. No bright-eyed, blushing, breathless baby doll baby. No, sir, that kind of gal ties knots no sailor ever knew. I prefer to take a chance on a more adult romance. No dewy young miss who keeps resisting. All the time she keeps insisting. No wide-eyed, wholesome, innocent female. No, sir. Why, she's a fisherman, I'm the fish you'll see. I flinch, I shy. When the lass with the delicate air goes by, I smile, I grin. When the gal with a touch of sin walks in, I hope and I pray for Hester to win just one more A. The sadder but wiser girl's the girl for me. The sadder but wiser girl for me. Ooh, okay, got to figure out how to do that. Microphone don't like those loud sounds. Work is a four-letter word. That kind of language is not ladylike. Chief Keith's mom, like I said, I was getting to it. All right, we're up to speed. Big comedy fan and Chief Keith's. Hey, everybody, just checking in. Let's see what's going on with that there. What is that? Interesting. Well, we can fix that up. I wouldn't worry about it. How's everybody doing? You all right? Dad's not working. Kim's working too much. And how about you, Lady E? You keeping busy? All right, let's spin the wheel. got a shortcut. Hold on. There we go. Really? All right, then. How are we doing on time? Man, we got time for a short story. I think I'll do a Charles Kuralt. I do enjoy the Charles Kuralt stories. Here we go. Let's go to the... Let's see, for story time, doesn't really matter. All right, the theater. Giant. Oh, here we go. This is Place of Sorrows by Charles Kuralt. This is about a place where the wind blows and the grass grows and a river flows below a hill. Nothing is here but the wind and the grass and the river. But of all the places in America, this is the saddest place I know. The Indians called the river Greasy Grass. White men called it the Little Bighorn. From a gap in the mountains to the east, Brevet Major General George A. Custer's proud 7th Cavalry came riding early in the morning of June 25th, 1876, riding toward Little Bighorn. Custer sent one battalion under Major Marcus Reno across the river to attack what he thought might be a small village of hostile Sioux. His own battalion he galloped behind the ridges to ride down on the village below. When at last Custer brought his 231 troops to the top of a hill and looked down toward the river, what he saw was an encampment of 15,000 Indians stretching for 2.5 miles, the largest assembly of Indians the plains had ever known, and 1,000 mounted warriors coming straight for him. Reno's men, meanwhile, had been turned, routed, chased across the river, joined by the rest of the regiment, surrounded, and now were dying, defending a nameless brown hill. In a low, protected swale in the middle of their narrowing circle, the one surviving doctor improvised a field hospital and did what he could for the wounded. The grass covers the place now and grows in the shallow rifle trenches above, which were dug that day by knives and tin cups and fingernails. Two friends in H Company, Private Charles Wendoff and Private Julian Jones, fought up here, side by side, all that day, and stayed awake all that night, talking, both of them scared. Charles Wendoff said, "Then, next morning, when the firing commenced, I said to Julian, we'd better get our coats off. He didn't move. I looked at him. He was shot through the heart." Charles Wendoff won the Congressional Medal of Honor up here, survived, lived to be 98. He didn't die until 1950. And never a day passed in all those years that he didn't think of Julian Jones. And Custer's men, 4 miles away, there are stones in that grass that tell the story of Custer's men. The stones all say the same thing. U.S. soldier, 7th Cavalry, fell here, June 25th, 1876. The warriors of Sitting Bull under the great Chief Gall struck Custer first and divided his troops. Two Moon and the Northern Cheyenne struck him next, and when he tried to gain a hilltop with the last remnants of his command, Crazy Horse rode all over that hill with hundreds of warriors and right through his battalion. The Indians who were there later agreed on two things: that Custer and his men fought with exceeding bravery, and that after half an hour, not one of them was alive. The army came back that winter, of course the army came back, and broke the Sioux and the Cheyenne and forced them back to the starvation of the reservations, and in time murdered old warriors and women and children on the Pine Ridge Reservation. Then Custer lost young men in battle here. That's why this is the saddest place. For Custer and the 7th Cavalry, courage only led to defeat. For Crazy Horse and the Sioux, victory only led to Wounded Knee. Come here sometime and you'll see. There is a melancholy in the wind, and sorrow in the grass, and the river weeps. That's by Charles Kuralt, one of my all-time favorites. You overpower many mics. I know, I'm working on it. That's one of the reasons I can't handle my voice. It's true. It is hard work, Kim. Don't kid yourself. The beautiful, powerful Millwater voice. It's a curse. That's one of the reasons I'm doing the headphone thing now, so I can try to get used to it and see if I can learn how to use a mic properly. All right, anyway, how's Charles Kuralt? Who doesn't love Charles Kuralt? I love Charles Kuralt. Let's spin the wheel. Ask me anything. This is exciting. This will be the perfect time to ask me about the coffee cup or anything like that. We're going to go back to the chat chalet. 60 seconds on the clock. Ask me anything you'd like to know about stand-up comedy, about life, maybe questions about our past. I got family here. I wonder why that's green. That really bothers me. Well, we'll figure it out. Any questions? And there are none, so let's spin the wheel. Roses and thorns. One of my favorite parts when there's folks in the stream. Here we go. Let's go to the chat. Roses and thorns. All right. This is a very simple thing we do in my own home. Tell me about your week. What's a good thing that happened and what's a bad thing that happened? Roses are the good things, thorns the bad things. Let me think about my roses and thorns real quick. I think, let's see. Rose is I get to hang out with my buddy Tony a whole lot. Tony Esposito is a friend of mine from Orlando, and from my beginnings of my career as a stand-up comic, I got to see him and hang out with him at my house a little bit, and that was really, really fun. So that was a rose. Let's see. 60 seconds on the clock with a 30-second delay. I'm trying my best, man. I don't know. I'm not delaying anything over here. It's probably just Facebook. What's the rush? That's true. Good question. I guess that's one of the questions for Ask Me Anything. I don't know why there's a 30-second delay. I have specific settings saying that it should be as slow as possible. I forget it. Let's spin the wheel. Ask me a question. I'll answer it. I'm available. Already did feeling. All right, one more. These I'm going to call an audible. Do another monologue. Kim knows everything. I knew it. Shakespeare. Shakespeare. I project for Shakespeare. I forgot. Let us pick. We've done sonnets already, so let us do a brief recitation. Perhaps something from Hamlet. Dad likes Hamlet. I like Hamlet. Let's do... Nope. Nope. There we go. I like this from Claudius. Though yet of Hamlet our dear brother's death the memory be green, and that it is befitted to us to bear our hearts in grief, and our whole kingdom to be contracted in one brow of woe. Yet so far hath discretion fought with nature, that we with wisest sorrow think on him together, with remembrances of ourself. Therefore our sometime sister, now our queen, th' imperial jointress to this warlike state, have we, as 'twere with a defeated joy, with an auspicious and a dropping eye, with mirth and funeral, and with dirge and marriage, in equal scale, weighing delight and dole, taken to wife. Nor have we herein barred your better wisdoms, which have freely gone with this affair along, for all our thanks. Now follows that you know young Fortinbras, holding a weak supposal of our worth, or thinking by our late dear brother's death our state to be disjoint and out of frame, colleagued with this dream of his advantage, he hath not failed to pester us with message importing the surrender of those lands lost by his father, while all bands of law to our most valiant brother. So much for him. Now, for ourself and for this time of meeting, this much the business is. We have Hal, writ to Norway, uncle of young Fortinbras, who, impotent and bedridden, scarcely hears of this his nephew's purpose, to suppress his further gait herein, in that the levies, the lists, and full proportions of all made out of his subject, and we here dispatch you, good Cornelius, and you, Voltimand, for bearers of this greeting to old Norway, giving to you no further personal power to business with the king, more than the scope of these dilated articles follow. Farewell, and let your haste commend your duty. I like that, Claudius. Not really, he's kind of a jerk. Harmony's talking, oh my goodness gracious, roses and thorns are ready, roses and thorns are ready, I'm going back to the chat. Now, where we left off, Kim said, I know everything, and I bet she does. Dad says, no roses to thorn. No roses, it's too hot. No roses, no thorns. Nice. Except that I said that 30 seconds ago. That's true. Been working, hanging with Dan Viaches on the Conquest. I'm amazed the Conquest is still hanging in there. IOU, that's from Tony. Maybe that's like an IOU question. Lyric is sad, I don't know. And I can't fix it. Yeah, is it regular sad? Is it depression sad? Is it, there's so many different kinds of sad that could be debilitating. Yeah, I don't know how to cheer her up either. Sorry. Harmony is talking now. Oh my goodness. Harmony is my niece, more importantly, my sister's daughter, my sister's granddaughter, my great niece. She's great. Anyway, and then Kim says, Pip. Is that Pip? Pin. That makes more sense. No, it doesn't. What? Pin. Well, let's spin the wheel. I find the frustration in communicating is part of the charm of this stream. Yay, a song. All right, let's do something simple. Let's do theater. Nice, easy song. Let's do. All right. Dream a little dream. Kim loves to sing this one. I love this one too. Stars, stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Birds singing in the sycamore tree. Dream a little dream of me. Say nighty-night and kiss me. Just hold me tight and tell me you'll miss me while I'm alone and blue as can be. Dream a little dream of me. Stars fading, but I linger on, dear. Still craving your kiss. I'm longing to linger till dawn, dear. Just saying this. Sweet dreams till sunbeams find you. Sweet dreams that leave all worries behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, dream a little dream of me. Stars fading, but I linger on, dear, still craving your kiss. I'm longing to linger till dawn, dear, just saying this. Sweet dreams till sunbeams find you. Sweet dreams that leave all worries behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, dream a little dream of me. Nice. That was fun. What a great song. It's an emoji thingy, Pip. Depression, circumstances. LOL and IOU. Oh, LOL. I don't know. Sorry. Let's go back to the chat. I still haven't perfected, obviously, my chat. My chat demonstration has the number, has your picture over here, and then it has the time on top of the word of the first sentence. So like how is LOL and IOU, the bottom half of how is covered with the number. So I saw LOL and thought IOU because I have a victim mentality, I suppose. Sorry about that. Let's get back to work. Spin the wheel. Dad loves it. Good enough for me. My target demographic. on, monologue. Poem, still pretty good. All right, let us see where we left off. How about deserted garden? Wishes. Let's do wishes. This is Wishes by Dora Sigerton Shorter. I wish we could live as the flowers live, to breathe and to bloom in the summer and sun, to slumber and sway in the heart of the night, and to die when our glory is done. I wish we could live as the bees live, to rest or to roam without sorrow or sigh, with laughter when after the wooer had won, love flew with a whispered goodbye. I wish we could die as the birds die, to fly and to fall when our reason was best. No trammels of time on the years of our face, but to leave but an empty nest. Fun. It's been a week. All right, monologue. Got a bunch of new monologues. Specifically, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do this one. I'm going to do this one because I just happened to do the Charles Kuralt reading. So I'm going to put this down. This is a comedy monologue written by Norm Macdonald. It is the only Charles Kuralt comedy I have ever seen, and I sincerely hope you enjoy it. He's supposed to be playing Charles Kuralt. I'll be doing the impression as best I can of Charles Kuralt. Here we go. This is Sunday Morning with Charles Kuralt by Norm Macdonald. And now we return to Sunday Morning with Charles Kuralt. Well, it seems that all the time we have this Sunday morning, the time has come for us to part, you and I, for I am retiring from CBS News. I've been on the road now for 37 years, and I will miss it. I will miss it much. I will miss the thunder of the big diesels as they roar by me. I will miss the inviting windows of well-stocked general stores reflected in the rearview mirror. I'll miss the sight of young cottonwoods and old rattlesnake nests, of winds that blow and rivers that flow. But mostly, I will miss the sex. For that is what brought me to the road in the first place so many years ago, the promise of sex with a string of anonymous partners across this great land. And oh, how that promise has been fulfilled. There was Thelma Ober, a frail old woman of 75, whose pumpkin pies have been well known to the residents of Cornwall, North Dakota for years. Every afternoon, Thelma leaves her house and strolls gallantly toward town. And wherever Thelma goes, the birds of Cornwall follow. Ms. Thelma Ober is known as the Bird Lady, and I had sex with her. I remember Sarah Little, who lived at the end of a long dirt road in the piney woods of Arkansas and is the best friend a dog ever had. She owns over 450 of them. Oh, and just one more thing. Sarah Little is the town dog catcher. Oh, and just one more thing. I had sex with her. And I will not soon forget old Ned Harrigan from Monkland, Maine, the proud possessor of a ball of twine 67 feet around. If he ever unrolled it, it would stretch from Monkland, Maine to the Gulf of Mexico. But of course, Ned didn't want to unroll it. He wanted me to have sex with his wife. And so I did. And wouldn't you know it, old Ned watched. And I think he learned something, as we all did on that balmy August Monkland night. Yes, there were hundreds and thousands more. None of them were very attractive, I suppose, even by backwoods standards, but I couldn't care less. What's done is done. Anyway, those days are past now. I will retire tomorrow and busy myself with more solitary diversions. Perhaps you'll find me knee-deep in a bending piece of water known as the Madison River, trying to fool a trout with a bit of floating feather. Or maybe I'll be practicing something called autoerotic asphyxiation, A curious diversion Eric Severide introduced me to, and I've grown quite fond of. And so, tiddly-widdly, toodly-doo. All I want is to stay with you, but here I go. Goodbye. Only Charles Kuralt comedy. Fucking Norm. You are in for luck if you like fucking Norm, because I got a lot of Norm. Got a lot of Norm. Pin. What does pin mean? My Last Duchess by Robert Browning. All right. Fucking Norm. He is amazing, isn't he? All right. Let me see if I can find My Last Duchess by Robert Browning. Give me just a second here. I got the technology. All right. Here we go. My Last Duchess. Everybody doing okay? My Last Duchess. Robert Browning. See how much the camera's shaking? Here we go. A poet uses a punctuation mark to solve a crime. Interesting. All right, then let's give it a try. It's tricky. There we go. And back over here. I forgot. We got to go to the poetry pagoda. Hold on. We got a whole thing for this. Here we are. I love that you know poems, Kim. Thank you very much for giving suggestions. I really appreciate it. Headphones on. Let's do a poem. Okay. Just got to find it first. Here we are. This is My Last Duchess by Robert Browning. That's My Last Duchess painted on the wall, looking as if she were alive. I call that piece a wonder now. Fra Pandolf's hands worked busily a day, and there she stands. Wilt please you sit and look at her, I said. Fra Pandolf by design, for never read strangers like you that pictured countenance, the depth and passion of its earnest glance. But to myself they turned, since none puts by the curtain I have drawn for you but I, and seemed as they would ask me, if they durst, how such a glance came there so, not the first. Are you to turn and ask thus? Sir, 'twas not her husband's presence only called that spot of joy into Duchess's cheek. Perhaps Fra Pandolf chanced to say, her mantle lips over my lady's wrist too much, or paint must never hope to reproduce the faint half-flush that dies along her throat. Such stuff was courtesy, she thought, and cause enough for calling up that spot of joy. She had a heart, how shall I say, too soon made glad, too easily impressed. She liked whatever she looked on, and her looks went everywhere. Sir, 'twas all one, my favor at her breast, the dropping of the daylight in the west, the bough of cherries. Some officious fool broke into the orchard with her, the white mule she rode with round the terrace. All and each must draw from her alike the approving speed, the approving speech, or blush at least. She thanked men, good, but thanked somehow, I know not how, as if she ranked my gift of a 900-year-old name with anybody's gift. Who'd stoop to blame this sort of trifling? Even had you skill in speech, which I have not, to make your will quite clear to such a one and say, just this or that in you disgusts me. Here you miss, or there exceed the mark. And if she let herself be lessoned so, nor plainly set her wits to you, forsooth, and made excuse, even then would be some stopping, some stooping, and I choose never to stoop. Ah, sir, she smiled, no doubt, whene'er I passed her, but who passed without much the same smile? This grew. I gave commands. Then all smiles stopped together. There she stands as if alive. Wilt please you rise? We'll meet the company below then. I repeat, the Count, your master's known magnificence, is ample warrant that no just pretense of mine for dowry will be disallowed, though his fair daughter's self, as I avowed at starting, is my object. Nay, we'll go together down, sir. Notice Neptune, though, taming a seahorse, though a rarity, which claws of Innsbruck cast in bronze for me. There you go. per your request. I see we got some more fans of Norm. Let's spin the wheel. Next month, Debbie's doing a show. My wife, Debbie, produces comedy shows here in Charlotte every now and then. Next month, she's doing a show called Ghosts of Comics Past, where we get to do impressions of comics who have died and do some of their material. I'll be doing Norm, Rodney Dangerfield, and Mitch Hedberg. I've been doing Mitch Hedberg and Rodney for years, not very well, but with great passion, and I'll be learning more Norm in the coming weeks. Monologue! Excellent. Let's go down to the comedy club. I'll do one more next week. All right, here we go there, yeah. So, so you got to stay in shape there, and I watch the TV. I watch a lot of sports on the TV, everything on any sport at all, you know, I don't care. You know, some of those sports are not even sports, you know. Yeah, you ever see those sports on TV where they just try to take two different sports and combine them together, make them a new one? They don't even work together, you know, like a guy will run a 100-yard dash and then fish. I saw this one, cliff diving. There's a wild sport, eh? A guy diving off a cliff there, and they're trying to pass it off as a sport, you know. It's like it's attempted suicide, pretty much, right? Next week, I saw on the TV guide, they got washing down Quaaludes with wood alcohol. Can you believe that? Huh? How about that for a sport? It's tough to know who's better in cliff diving either. Like, you see a guy jumping off a cliff, and you go, oh, man, yeah, the guy diving off a cliff. And another guy, oh, there's another guy diving off a cliff there. But you can't tell who's better, you know? Like, if you survive at all, you're a great cliff diver there. There's only two classifications in cliff diving there. There's grand champion, and then stuff on a rock. Very hard to make a comeback in that sport, I'll tell you that. Takes a lot of dedication there. There you go. Stuff on a rock. Norm, you waited for Amy AMA. Oh, cool. What? That's 24 hours open. When am I coming to the Harrisburg Comedy Zone? Let us answer that question. There's no wrong time to ask a question on this stream, Tony. Thanks for getting involved. No need to yell. Let's see. When am I coming to Harrisburg? Let's see. I have not done any comedy clubs except the one here in Charlotte for the past few years. I'm planning on getting to work again next year. In fact, in the coming months, I'm planning to work as much as I can because my son is old enough to babysit now, so it makes it a lot easier to figure out these things. I don't have anything on the books yet, but when I do, you'll be the second person I tell. The first will be my cousin, Tracy. She lives up there near Harrisburg. She lives in Hummelstown, Pennsylvania. Gotta go. Bye, Kimmy. We love you. And when the wheel chooses it, you hit the wheel again. It's true. It's awful. It's very uncomfortable. The Ask Me Anything is very uncomfortable for me, Tony, because it's me talking to the camera, waiting for anything to come up. I like answering questions very much, but I hate waiting for questions, and I hate demanding questions, more than once especially. So that's why I skipped on past it. But ask anything you want, buddy. Anytime. You get a pass. You're here. Let's spin a wheel. Only 5 minutes of show left anyway. If you got any questions, now's your chance. Song? All right, I like singing. Let's go to the theater. We'll do something fast and fun. Let's see. How about... Let's do Things Are Looking Up. If I should suddenly start to sing or stand on my head or anything, don't think that I've lost my senses. It's just my happiness finally commences. The long, long ages of dull despair are turning into thin air. And it seems that suddenly I've become the happiest guy alive. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Things are looking up. I've been looking the landscape over, and it's covered with four-leaf clover. Oh, things are looking up since love looked up at me. A bitter was my cup, But no more will I be the mourner, for I've certainly turned the corner. Oh, things are looking up since love looked up at me. See the sunbeams, everyone beams, just because of you. Love's in session, and my depression is unmistakably through. Things are looking up. It's a great little world we live in. Oh, I'm happy as a pup since love looked up at me. Ha! Cheerful. I like it. Happy as a pup since love looked up at me. Yeah. Fun. All right, then. Let's spin the wheel. What? Almost. One last thing. Got time for one last thing. Let's see what we got. Oh, good. One more monologue. Got time for one more. Let's go down to the theater. Let's see if I can't find something interesting. All right, this is a very specific George Carlin bit. Not as funniest by any means, but very, very informative. I hope you enjoy it. It's called If I Control the Networks. If I Control the Networks by George Carlin. I'm tired of television announcers, hosts, newscasters, and commentaries nibbling away at the English language, making obvious and ignorant mistakes. If I were in charge of America's broadcast stations and networks, I would gather together all the people whose jobs include speaking to the public, and I would not let them out of the room until they absorbed the following suggestions. I am aware that media personalities are not selected on the basis of intelligence. I know that, and I try to make allowances for it. Believe me, I really try. But still, there are some liberties taken with speech that I think require intervention, if only for my own sake. I won't feel right if this chance goes by, and I keep my silence. The English word fort, meaning specialty or strong point, is not pronounced forte. Got that? It's pronounced fort. The Italian word forte, used in music notation, is pronounced forte, and it instructs the musician to play loud. She plays the skin flute, and her fort is playing forte. Look it up. And don't give me that whiny shit. Forte is listed as the second preference. There's a reason it's second. It's not first. Irony deals with opposites. It has nothing to do with coincidence. If two baseball players from the same hometown on different teams receive the same uniform number, it is not ironic. It's a coincidence. If Barry Bonds attains lifetime statistics identical to his father's, it will not be ironic. It will be a coincidence. Irony is, quote, a state of affairs that is the reverse of what was to be expected, a result opposite to and in mockery of the appropriate result, end quote. For instance, if a diabetic on his way to buy insulin is killed by a runaway truck, he is the victim of an accident. If the truck was delivering sugar, he is the victim of an oddly poetic coincidence. But if the truck was delivering insulin, then he is the victim of an irony. If a Kurd, after surviving bloody battle with Saddam Hussein's army and a long, difficult escape through the mountains, is crushed and killed by a parachute drop of humanitarian aid, that, my friends, is irony writ large. Darryl Stingley, pro football player, was paralyzed after a brutal attack by Jack Tatum. Now, Darryl Stingley's son plays football, and if the son should become paralyzed while playing, it will not be ironic. It will be coincidental. If Darryl Stingley's son paralyzes someone else, that will be closer to ironic. If he paralyzes Jack Tatum's son, that will be precisely ironic. I'm tired of hearing prodigal, meaning used to mean wandering, given to running away and leaving and returning. The parable in the book of Luke tells of a son who squanders his father's money. Prodigal means recklessly wasteful or extravagant. And if you say popular usage has changed that, I say, fuck popular usage. The phrase sour grapes does not refer to jealousy or envy, nor is it related to being a sore loser. It deals with the rationalization of failure to attain a desired end. In the original fable by Aesop, The Fox and the Grapes, when the fox realizes he cannot leap high enough to reach the grapes, he rationalizes that even if he had gotten them, they probably would have been sour. Rationalization is what sour grapes means. It doesn't deal with jealousy or sore losing. Yeah, I know you say, well, many people are using it that way, so the meaning is changing. And I say, well, many people are really fucking stupid too. Shall we adopt all their standards? Strictly speaking, celibate does not mean not having sex. It means not being married, no wedding. The practice from refraining from sex is called chastity, or sexual abstinence. No fucking. Priests don't take a vow of celibacy, they take a vow of chastity, sometimes referred to as the no nookie clause. And speaking of sex, the Immaculate Conception does not mean Jesus was conceived in the absence of sex. It means Mary was conceived without original sin. That's all it's ever meant, and according to the tabloids, Mary is apparently the only one who can make such a claim. The Jesus thing is called virgin birth. Proverbial is now being used to describe things that don't appear in Proverbs. For instance, the proverbial drop in the bucket is incorrect because a drop in a bucket is not a proverb, it's a metaphor. You wouldn't say as welcome as the turd in the proverbial punch bowl or as cold as the proverbial nun's box because neither refers to a proverb. The former is a metaphor, the latter is a simile. Momentarily means for a moment, not in a moment. The word in a moment is presently. I will be there presently, Dad, and then after pausing momentarily, I will kick you in the nuts. No other option and no other alternative are redundant. The words option and alternative already imply otherness. I had no option, Mom. I got this huge erection because there was no alternative. This rule is not optional. The alternative is to be wrong. You should not use criteria when you mean criterion. For the same reason, you should not use criterion when you mean criteria. These is my only criterions. A light year is a measurement of distance, not time. It will take light years for young basketball players to catch up with the number of women Wilt Chamberlain has fucked is an impossibility scientifically, probably in more ways than one. An acronym is not just any set of initials. It applies only to those that are pronounced as words. MAD, DARE, NATO, and UNICEF are acronyms. FBI, CIA, and KGB are not. They're just pricks. I know I'm fighting a losing battle on this one, but I refuse to surrender. Collapsing a building with explosives is not an implosion. An implosion is a very specific scientific phenomenon. The collapsing of a building with explosives is the collapsing of a building with explosives. The explosives explode and the building collapses inwardly. That is not an implosion. It is an inward collapsing of a building following a series of smaller explosions designed to make it collapse inwardly. Period. Fuck you. Here's another pointless, thankless objection I'd like to register. I say it that way because I know you people and your goddamn possible usage slammed the door on this one a long time ago, but here it goes anyway. A cop-out is not an excuse, not even a weak one. It is an admission of guilt. When somebody cops a plea, they admit guilt to some charge in exchange for better treatment. He has copped out. When a guy says, I didn't get the fucker because I reminded her of her little brother, he's making an excuse. If he says, I didn't get the fucker because I'm an unattractive schmuck, he is copping out. The trouble arises when an excuse contains a small amount of self-incriminating truth. And this one is directed to all you sports people. You are destroying a perfectly good figure of speech. Getting the monkey off of one's back does not mean breaking a losing streak. It refers only to ending a dependency. That's all. The monkey represents a strong yen. A losing streak does not compare even remotely, not in a literary sense and not in real life. Here's one you hear from the truly dense. The proof is in the pudding. Well, the proof is not in the pudding. The rice and the raisins are in the pudding. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. In this case, proof means test. The same is true of the exception that proves tests the rule. An eye for an eye is not a call for revenge. It is an argument for fairness. In the time of the Bible, it was standard to take a life in exchange for an eye. But the Bible said, no, the punishment should fit the crime. Only an eye for an eye, nothing more. It is not vindictive, it is mitigatory. Don't make the same mistake twice. Seems to indicate 3 mistakes, doesn't it? First you make the mistake, then you make the same mistake. Then you make the same mistake twice. If you simply say don't make the same mistake, you'll avoid the first mistake. Oh, this is important. Unique needs no modifier. Very unique, quite unique, more unique, real unique, fairly unique, and extremely unique are wrong, and they mark you as dumb, although certainly not unique. Healthy does not mean healthful. Healthy is a condition. Healthful is a property. Vegetables aren't healthy, they're dead. No food is healthy unless you have an eggplant that's doing push-ups. Push-ups are healthful. There is no such thing as kudo. Kudos is a singular noun meaning praise, and it is pronounced kudos. There's also a plural form, spelled the same, but pronounced kudos. Please stop telling me so-and-so picked up another kudo today. Race, creed, or color is wrong. Race and color, as used in this phrase, describe the same property, and creed is a stilted, outmoded way of saying religion. Leave this tired phrase alone. It has lost its usefulness. Besides, it reeks of insecurity, no matter who uses it. As of yet is simply stupid. As yet, I've seen no progress on this one, but of course I'm speaking as of now. Here's one you can win money on in a bar if you're within reach of the right reference book. Chomping at the bit and old stomping ground are incorrect. Some Saturday afternoon when you're getting bombed at your old stamping ground, you'll be champing at the bit to use this one. Sorry to sound so picky, folks, but I listen to a lot of radio and TV, and these things have bothered me for a long time. Someone's calling me. I can't imagine why they would do that. I wonder who it is. We'll never find out. Okay. So I'm just going to close out the show. Thank you very much for tuning in. I love Carlin, too. Put it in there just for you, Dad. Let's go to Talk Show Desk. And it's to cut the music. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I hope you had a few laughs. I hope you had some fun. Maybe learned something. Till next time, remember, there's only one way to save this country, and it's for all of us to love each other. So love yourself first, and then find somebody else to love. And if you can, try loving everybody. That's where the real joy is. So till next time. We'll meet again. We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Someone's at the door, I think. Sing along. Keep shining through just like you always do, and the blue skies will push the dark clouds far away. And would you please say hello to the folks that I know and tell them I won't be long. They'll be happy to know that as you saw me go, I was singing this song. We'll meet again. Don't know where, I don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next Sunday if I'm lucky. Bye. Mm-hmm.